Anyway, very few highlights will get me to stop in the middle of an attempt to throw to sound, but that no-look right-handed pass from the left-handed Tua did it. Here's Mike McDaniel on the decision not to go for the all-time regular season points record.
It felt like chasing points and chasing a record. That's not what we came to the game to do. That doesn't have a bearing on the overall season outcome. And I just didn't, I saw it as, in that 10 times out of 10, you concede and kneel down in those situations because there was a attainable record. That was cool, but the message that I thought it would send wasn't really in line with how I view things.
That's a great take from Mike McDaniel. I sense that as he's explaining that, he's a little shell-shocked by what happened, and he's thinking about how does this game fit within our broader objectives? Is there a negative that comes from scoring 70? Does it make it harder to move forward when you get the Bills up next? Could I bank some of those points for next week against the Buffalo Bills? But I think of other coaches, and I'm not trying to be critical of anybody. I just think there are other coaches out there that would have kicked that field goal. When I think of John Harbaugh twisting himself in the knots to justify attaching significance to a preseason wins record, or that stupid record, and this came against the Broncos where there were complaints back when Vic Fangio was the head coach about running the ball late when the game was decided so they could extend this very obscure record of consecutive games with 100 team rushing yards. And it's kind of like, that's kind of dumb to put significance on that. But if you're ultra competitive and you have a chance to do something, and I could hear John Harbaugh justifying it, saying, we were on the brink of history. Nobody's ever done this. We had a chance to do something that these guys can tell their grandchildren about. He would have kicked the field goal there. I think Peyton would have gotten the...
Probably.
There are plenty of coaches that would have done it.
Yeah.
For McDaniel to realize in that moment, you know what? This can do a lot more harm than good to what we're really here for. So I don't want this.
Yeah.
I already got enough
Right.
to process with 70. I don't need the all-time regular season scoring record, putting an even bigger target on us every step of the way. Now we're the team everybody's out to beat, and we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And we got the Bills next week.
Yeah, no, I think it's, maybe a little bit of like you go that route. It's against the football gods. It's against the football karma a little bit. I agree with you that there's coaches out there that would have gone for it. I think of like my ex-coach, John Gruden. He would have gone for it for sure. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I understand it. Sometimes you only get a chance to be a part of history like that. And you go, okay, damn, we can have the most yards and points in the history of a, NFL game on the offensive side of the ball. And I understand everybody liking that shiny object. But at the same time, he's going, wait, we're in Miami. We're the biggest thing in the city right now. Do we really need to do that? And added on top of that, this is a guy that worked for the Bronco organization one time, right? Mike McDaniel. And he's got respect for the game, too. And I would guarantee he's
grew up a Broncos fan.
I know. So that's another reason where I think that probably helped him pump the brakes. And his respect, I'm sure, for Sean Payton and what he's done in this league. I think he probably just felt like that wasn't right. It wasn't the right message. They won the game. They whooped their ass. We don't have to send them into obliteration mode and, dig a hole 20 feet deeper here for them. And he moved on, and I think that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Some other things about the Miami Dolphins, and I'm glad Raheem Mostert pointed this out because I asked what's the difference this year, and he said it's the offensive line. Year two.
Right.
We don't notice the offensive line when it's the Charlie Chaplin silent movie high-speed highlights with 10 touchdowns. It's, Devon A-Chain had 4. And, Raheem Mostert had 4. And they had 5 on the ground and 5 in the air, and it was history this and statistics that. The offensive line was kind of the thing that got it all going. And what Mostert said is, between the offensive line and Tua, year 2.
Yeah.
Year 2 in the system. Last year, first year in the system, they did some pretty damn good things.
Right.
This year, year 2, next level.
Yeah. He knows the offense like the
it.
back of his hand now, right? And he knows he's an extension of Mike McDaniel, knows what he wants to check to in every formation. And if the defense does this, McDaniel taught me to do that. So, yeah, the robot is almost completely wired to be an extension of McDaniel and the coaching staff there. And the offensive line it's the only thing we questioned going into the year with the Dolphins. I know on my podcast and you and I, it's a top 3 roster in football. The only thing we needed to see to go to that next level was, can they run the football? And can they protect Tua to keep him healthy? Those are the 2 things we all question. And one, McDaniel does a great job of all the moving stuff before the snap, and then almost every play on first and second down has some semblance of a run fake, so that always makes defensive line slow down for a little bit. He helps his O-line there. That helps them get confidence because they go, look, we're not giving up sacks, even though they're doing a lot to help them. And then they're allowing them to fire off the ball and play that way and get physical a little bit, and they're gaining confidence there. I mean, the fact that they ran the ball the way they did against the Patriots last week up in New England, and to do this again this week, it's the perfect formula because nobody wants to put extra guys in the box to play the Miami Dolphins. Nobody wants to go, let's get 8 people down there to stop the run. Yeah, we'll leave Tyreek and Waddle one-on-one. That'll be good for us, right? So that's the conundrum they're going to put you in here going forward. And then, we're not even talking about their defense. Their defense flies around like a bunch of crazy maniacs too. And they got a ton of talent there. And Vic Fangio, you're seeing that defense is different this year. So Dolphins are certainly that team that, like we said about the Cowboys, Dolphins and 49ers through 3 weeks are the kings of the NFL right now. At least the 2 teams that are most impressive. We know the Eagles are still damn good, but they haven't played their best.
It's going to be 49ers 1, Dolphins 2 in the power rankings. Yeah. I mean, I got caught up in Cowboys mania last week and swept them into number 1. No, they swept themselves right out of number 1. Before we pivot to that game, the one disappointment I have from yesterday's Dolphins-Broncos game. When I spoke to Raheem Mostert, I tried to find the most subtle way to bring it up.
Yeah.
Any talk this week, Raheem, any chatter in the locker room about how this was maybe a little bit of a middle finger by Mike McDaniel to Sean Payton and maybe people above Mike in the organization who tried to hire Sean Payton and ultimately squandered a first-round pick in the effort to hire Sean Payton last year before they hired Mike McDaniel.
Right.
And Raheem said, well, that's the first time hearing of that. Like, damn. I said, Raheem, you really get in the way of a good story. And he's like, and I could hear it in his voice. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, so that was not, it may have been somewhere in the back of Mike McDaniel's mind.
The coaching staff maybe.
But it's nothing that made its way into the locker room. And I guess for most players, it'd be like, I don't care. Most of them are oblivious to it. But, I could see that at some level that's a way to go to Tua and say, hey, man, this is the game that, they didn't want me and they didn't want you. Yeah. Like, they wanted Peyton and they wanted Brady. Yeah. So this is our chance to kind of show everybody that sometimes your first choice isn't your best choice.
No, and I think you could throw on Fangio there. You could really make some stew and get some things going because he's going, the damn Broncos, they screwed me over and I didn't get a fair shot.
But Payton wanted to hire him back as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, right. But so there, that's one where I could see the coaches, up there on Monday and Tuesday getting ready and people saying things and kind of, going, we're going to get, McDaniel's, it's payback time for things like that. Certainly, we know how coaches are and players are for the most part. They find anything to rally around there. But, wow.
And even if Mostert wasn't aware of it, surely McDaniel was aware of it. How could you not be aware of it?
Of course he
is. The door opened only because they failed to capitalize on this plan A of getting Sean Payton and Tom Brady. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.